Hello, Scorpio, Sun, Moon babies, rising as well as Venus. I hope you're doing well. I'm Jen with Timeline Tarot. This is your tarot card for the week of December 14th, 2025. Keep in mind it is a collective general reading, not individualized, not personalized to you. Messages may come through today that do not fully resonate. And if that happens, don't get upset. It just means that one message is meant for someone else watching. So take what fits, how it fits, leave what doesn't. Be sure to check out your other placements. Also keep in mind this is not what you don't see coming for the week ahead. This reading is intended to help us move our lives forward. So take the messages how they resonate to you. And if you would like to learn about how you can become a time traveler, please check out the description box below. With all of that said, let's begin. Tapping into the Scorpio collective now for Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. What is the tarot card of the week here for Scorpio? Let's get one more shuffle. Thank you. Tarot card of the week, Seven of Cups. What situation, environment, or connection in your life is bringing you a variety of choices? At the bottom of the deck, you have the Lovers, which is the ultimate choice card in tarot. What are you prepared to learn from this love connection? Tell me more about the Seven of Cups. Why is the Seven of Cups the tarot card of the week here for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements? I noticed the cards were dragging along as I was just trying to separate them. I feel like there's a pattern here in the Scorpio collective, and I'm not waving my old lady finger at you. I'm part of that collective as a Scorpio moon. There's something we're doing that we're dragging and like taking with us from connection to connection, whether that's professional, platonic, or romantic. Okay, tell me about this. What situation, environment, or connection in your life is bringing you a variety of choices? Why is this Scorpio's tarot card of the week? One more shuffle. Thank you. The Eight of Cups. I feel like there's something we're doing. We need to walk away from doing it. Eight of Cups, Ten of Wands. Yes, because it's burdensome. Knight of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. The bottom of the deck, we have King of Swords, Four of Swords, and Strength. Could be a communication wound. Nine of Swords, High Priestess, and the Three of Pentacles. All right, let's start to clarify. What is this Eight of Cups here? I'm feeling like there's something that we're doing over and over again. It's like doing the same thing over and over again, and then with that Three of Wands, like waiting for a different outcome. It's like there's no different outcome here. There's no different outcome because we need to stop doing something that we're doing. So what situation, environment, or connection is bringing you a variety of choices? Connections in general. Okay, tell me about the Eight of Cups here. Why is the Eight of Cups here in Scorpio's energy? One more shuffle. Thank you. The Eight of Cups is clarified by the Four of Wands, the Two of Cups, and the Page of Swords. Something the way we communicate or how we communicate or how we don't communicate in regards to our partnerships. Two of Cups, this was the feeling I was getting. Something about structure and stability in our partnerships, regardless of what they are. The Sun, the Five of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. See, for me, this is like wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. I want the Ten of Cups, Ten of Pentacles in my partnerships. I'm doing something here that's contributing to me being in the Five of Cups, and then I start all over again with the Ace of Cups. There's a lesson here that we need to learn. Okay. Whatever it is here that we're doing, it becomes burdensome, or it becomes an unnecessary stress, or causes an unnecessary stress on us as well as the individuals we are in connection with. See, again, look how I'm dragging the card. Oh, the card that I'm dragging is the Seven of Cups, which is our tarot card of the week. And the Seven of Pentacles. This is something we're doing over and over again. I'm so glad I looked at that. Okay. Ten of Wands. Why is the Ten of Wands here? Why is the Ten of Wands here? One more shuffle. Thank you. This is what we're supposed to learn. Aha. It's what we're supposed to learn from either a connection currently in our life or maybe a series of connections that we've had in our life. The Ten of Wands is clarified by the Queen of Wands, the Five of Swords, and the Ten of Cups. Oh. This is like fighting for love, fighting for affection, fighting for happiness, fighting for stability, fighting for reciprocity. So it's a communication wound? Okay, tell me more about this. Knight of Pentacles. We've been doing this a long time. Tell me about the Knight of Pentacles. Thank you. Ten of Swords. We've been doing this a long time. Ten of Swords, Two of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck, Death card. There we are. The way we show up in a connection, I'm not saying everything we do in all of our connections, you know, that we're doing it all wrong. It's not that. There's something here. I'm going to clarify a bit more. There's something here that when we enter a connection, whether it's professional, platonic, or romantic, we are not fully communicating our wants, needs, or desires for that connection. Or we're not asking the right questions at the onset of that connection. It starts off very minimally. Page of Swords. We say a little bit. We say a little bit of what we're expecting or what we need or our assumptions or our hopes. We say very little. And then when we don't receive what it is that we want, then we turn into Queen of Wands to the Five of Swords. Now it's like, oh my God, I got to fight for happiness. You should know this already. I told you already, or I implied already. Like, that's our feeling. I don't think we're saying that to people, but that's the feeling. Why can't this person get it? They should know by now. I've already communicated it. No, we didn't. We communicated very little. Page, small, very little. We just assumed or presumed the other people or the other person would know what we were saying or what we were trying to convey. And then when we don't get what we want, we become very verbally combative. And we don't do it to punish the other person. We do it for our own self-interest, which nothing wrong with that. We're looking for happiness. We're looking for structure. We're looking for emotional contentment. We're looking for stability. Why can't you give me that? Boss man, boss lady, friend, family member, lover? I already told you from the onset what I need. Not exactly. That's what we're doing here. And then we communicate very little, or maybe it's the way we're communicating. When we see, oh, we're not receiving what we thought the other person understood that we needed, then we become combative. Then we feel wounded. And then we try negotiating. Two of Pentacles to the Queen of Pentacles. Then we start this negotiating thing. Why do we keep doing this? Death to the Fool card to Hermit, to the Moon. All right, Three of Wands. So we're doing this repetitively, entering connections, going with the flow, not saying much, if anything at all, presuming the other entity knows what it is that we want or need or whatever, you know, from the connection. We don't get it, or we feel that we don't get it. We become verbally combative. It becomes a drain or strain on the connection and for us as well. And then we start negotiating here, negotiating with ourselves, second guessing ourselves. Well, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm too demanding. I don't think it's any of those things. I think initially we're either not asking the right questions, or we're not being explicitly clear when we need to say something. Like, we're not approaching these connections in that King of Swords energy. We're approaching them, at least on the onset, in Page of Swords energy. It's very different. It's like a little immature. Not calling you immature or us immature. That's the feeling here. So that's the wound, the communication wound, Four of Swords to the King of Swords, that needs to be healed. Because if we don't heal this, Four Swords plus the one sword that the King holds ends up turning into Five of Swords, and we become combative. So we're doing this repetitively, and then we're waiting for a different outcome. It's like there's no different outcome. The outcome is the same, Ten of Swords. Tell me about that Three of Wands. One more shuffle. Thank you. Either your current connection, again, professional, platonic, or romantic, maybe a combination of a few of them, or your most recent ones, were trying to teach you this. That's what they were trying to teach us. Oh, right behind that is the Knight of Cups. Are you prepared to receive or give a love offer? In terms of communicating well, for that, again, could be a professional offer. All right, let's see where we go with this. Hangman, Seven of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. We wait. We do the same thing over and over again, and then we wait. Three of Wands to the Hangman. We wait for a long time, Seven of Pentacles energy, for the other entity to get it, for the other entity to be responsive. They can't be responsive. They don't know exactly what it is that we want. So, excuse me, and there goes my throat chakra going. Okay, Empress, this is a lesson that we need to learn. We saw the Emperor before at the bottom of the deck. Not sure I pointed him out, but he was there. Whether you're masculine or feminine, this is one of the lessons. There goes my throat again. This is one of the lessons that the Scorpio collective needed to learn. If you're looking at it in terms of, I need to learn these lessons, these soul lessons, in order to elevate to Emperor, Empress status, then these are one of the lessons we need to learn. It doesn't mean we're automatically Emperor, Empress status, but we're one box closer. Okay, we're one lesson closer to achieving that. So for this lesson, we would become the emperor or empress because we would have learned it, but not if we keep repeating it. I hope this is making sense. I'm going to go into this a little bit deeper. Tell me about the King of Swords to the Four of Swords. Well, let's clarify that King of Swords first. So if you have or haven't seen my readings before, I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you. I've been trying to say it a little bit more. And maybe I'll put out like a little free tutorial or something about some of the ways that I read cards. For me, I look at the queens in tarot as they exist in the present because of what they've gone through in their respective suit, from the aces up to the knights. And every queen is forged through fire. So she exists. Say she, it's a woman. It's just an energy. Don't be offended. Not reading genitals here. The queens exist in the present because of their past experiences. The kings, not to make it hierarchical, it's not masculine versus feminine. It's just that's how the card suit goes, right? Kings are at the top tier. It's just they made the decks, not me, people. Don't get mad. The kings, I feel, take action towards the future. It's a little more aggressive masculine energy. Again, don't be offended. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. So the queens exist in the present. The kings take action. It's almost like we haven't learned this lesson, because if we learned this lesson, we would at least be communicating as the queen. We would be existing in connections as the Queen of Swords. Based upon my past experiences, this is now how I communicate. We're not doing that. We're showing up in page. So we made it through the whole suit. We know what it feels like to go from Ace of Swords to Ten of Swords, but we get stuck at page. We never go page knight to queen. And this is something we need to heal, because in order to heal, then we step into the king energy. And that King of Swords energy is now being able to move forward in our connections to effectively communicate. I hope that's making sense for someone. So tell me about the King of Swords here. I feel like this is the energy that we need to start embodying in all of our connections. And to give you an example of this, to break it down very simply, I'll use work as an example. How many of you, I know I've been guilty of this in the past, where I really needed a job, and I went on an interview, and at the end of the interviewer says, do you have any questions for me? And I sit there and I'm like, no, thank you. We covered it all. We really didn't cover it all. I was not prepared. I was eager to get the job. You could call it desperate if you wanted to, right? I got bills to pay and a mouth to feed, my own or sometimes my cats. And I would, or when I was married, my spouse's, but I would just accept any job. I wouldn't ask the right questions. I showed up in that interview in page energy. I don't ask for anything, or in the past, I didn't ask for anything in writing. I didn't ask questions about benefits, vacations, sick days, none of the nuances that are actually quite important. I was just happy to get the job, just happy to be chosen, right? And then 3 months down the line, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I've been at this job for 3 months. Where's my raise? Most companies give raises after 3 months. I never asked them during the interview, do you give a raise after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? Is there a probationary period? And then I take a day off because I'm sick and I get my paycheck. I notice I'm not paid. I'm like, wait a minute. When do the sick benefits connect? Why didn't these people tell me any of this? Like I put all of the, or I used to put all of the onus on them, all the responsibility on them. But I showed up at that interview in Page of Swords energy, not Queen of Swords, saying, based upon my past experiences, now I know when I go to an interview, I'm going to ask for ABC. I want this in writing. I want to look at the fine print. I want to ask if there's an employment contract and what are the details of that. I didn't do all that. So it took me several times of showing up in page energy at a job to realize, oh, from now on, when I walk into the interview, these are the questions I'm going to ask. I feel like that's what's required of us. And now for some of us, maybe we've learned that lesson in our professional connections, but not in our platonic. Maybe we've learned them in our platonic, but not romantic. Maybe we've learned them in romantic, but not professional. Do you see what I'm saying? So I don't feel like it's just one type of connection. For some of us, it could just be professional. For others, it's platonic. And for some of us, it's romantic. But it's like we're not asking the right questions at the interview. When we're starting to date someone and we go out on the first couple of dates and it's starting to feel good and we're having fun and we're experiencing this new connection, do we ever stop to ask the person what type of relationship they're looking for? Most of us don't stop to ask. That's a communication wound in respect to a romantic partnership. We just assume because we're looking for long-term, they're looking for long-term. We assume because we're looking for a casual connection that they are too. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're looking for a spouse. So there's something like that. And then for some of us, during the course of the connection, we just presume, because of the length of time now that we've been in connection, that the other person automatically should know what it is that we want or desire or need. And that's not always the case. People have different communication styles. People have different attachment styles. People have different conflict resolution styles. And I feel like those are the things that we need to address romantically. And when it comes to professional and platonic connections, what are you looking for? Like, I have entered friendships where I just assumed I'm going to be a loyal friend. You need me, you could call me at 2 in the morning. I'll be there for you. And I just presumed the other person would be there for me too. But I learned very quickly going through the divorce, I swear I was at a point in my life where I thought I had like 50 friends. I really did. It's a small town. I was volunteering locally. I ran for public office. Everyone in this town knew me then, still knows me to this day. I assumed I had a world of friends, that when my personal world was crashing, they would be there for me. I had 2. I had 2. And they had their own lives and their own families and, you know, their own lives. They couldn't be there for me 24/7. So don't assume. And I think that's what we do here. We assume that other people will show up the way we show up, that other people want the same thing that we want. We're agreeing to some unspoken contract with the other person. They don't even realize they're entering that contract with us. We just assume we're all on the same page. I think that's the communication wound. Not being able to effectively communicate like a King of Swords. This is what I'm looking for. If I'm going to enter a friendship, I'm looking for a friend who's going to be there, you know, on a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. when I need to move a couch, not just 10 o'clock on a Friday night at a bar when I'm buying a round of drinks. I want to know what, if you want to be a fair weather friend, that's good, but I need to know that from the onset. And the only way I'm going to know that is if I ask the right questions. King of Swords. Tell me about the King of Swords here. One more shuffle. Thank you. King of Swords, clarified by the Sun. Talk about clarity. Healing. The Star, more healing. And the Wheel of Fortune. This is something we do over and over again, and we can change it. There's the Justice card at the bottom of the deck. So I want to show you this. I'm clarifying the King of Swords. I get the Sun, I get the Star, and I get the Wheel of Fortune. This is something we do over and over again. If we heal it, we never have to learn this lesson again. We'll know at the onset of a connection if it's for us or not for us, if we want to engage or we don't want to engage. We don't have to wait until we're starting to feel so depleted or the person is so unresponsive that we become verbally aggressive because like, hey, fuck you, man, I matter. And I understand why we get to that point, but we play a role in us getting to that point because we started that connection or existed throughout it as the Page of Swords. So this is definitely something we could heal. We got 2 healing cards here to the Wheel of Fortune. Like if we're going to heal this, this is the moment to do it. Let's not carry this wound into 2026. Let's heal it once and for all. 4 of Swords to the Strength card. We have all the strength and perseverance and knowledge that we need to do this. We're not a stupid zodiac sign. Not that any of the zodiac signs are stupid, but you know. But we've been around the block as Scorpios, and if anything, out of all 12 zodiac signs, we know how to transform. We're ruled by Pluto, modern day Pluto. You know, formerly Mars. We know how to get shit done. We know how to change. We're not afraid of change. We're a fixed sign, but we're not stubborn, fixed. So we can definitely recognize this if we're honest with ourselves and go, yeah, that's me. And again, not saying that we're 100% to blame for everything that goes wrong in a relationship, but sometimes when communication, you know, we're not syncing with the other person, oftentimes it's because we chose to stay silent or minimally say, you know, what it is that we want or need. We don't inquire enough. And by the time we get to the point where we're frustrated, we're very verbally aggressive. We'll burn your house down or list it for sale, whichever delights us on that particular day. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to make light of this for you. I hope you're laughing. Clarify that Strength card here. One more shuffle. Thank you. The Strength card is clarified by the King of Wands, the World card, and the Fool. When in a reading do you see World card and the Fool in that succession? Very rarely. So now we can move forward. Because of what we've learned in the past, remember, Queens, that Queen of Wands, that's how we exist in you know, presently because of the past. But now moving forward, we'll show up differently. We'll show up in King energy. That's a wound we get to heal. World card, that's a chapter we get to put behind us. Fool card now, we exit Sagittarius season with a whole new way of looking at ourselves and our own communication wound and taking the time now to heal it. We're going to slip up. That's natural, but we can do it. Look at that. We're ending this reading. Can't believe it. 7 of Cups to the 7 of Cups. What situation, environment, or connection is bringing you a variety of choices. The connections in our lives, they bring us a choice in respect to how we communicate. That choice is ours. We can choose to continually communicate in the Page of Swords, or we can heal that wound, learn that lesson, elevate to the Knight, elevate to the Queen, and once we heal it once and for all, we are in King territory. And I think this is rapid. I don't think we need to go through the whole suit of cards again. We could repeat the cycle, you know, and next time we'll show up as Knight of Swords. And then we'll have to repeat the whole damn cycle. And then we'll show up as, you know, as the Queen. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to go through another 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords, 7 of Swords, 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords, just to learn this one lesson. There are enough things in life that drag us through the sword suit. It shouldn't be of our own doing because we're not healing a communication wound. Again, doesn't mean that we're to blame for the 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords, etc., but we're playing a role in it. So I think we can expedite this. I don't think we need to do this another round or a second round until we elevate the King. I think most of us are smart enough we can do this now. Let's get 3 cards of advice. 3 cards of advice here for Scorpio. One more shuffle. Thank you. 3 cards of advice. 7 of Swords. There's that self-sabotaging, communication, self-sabotaging behavior. 5 of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands. Bottom of the deck, the Devil. It's just something toxic within us. And the first thing that we need to see is we need to acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge it, that we betray ourselves in some respect when we're entering any kind of connection, either not asking the right questions, not making the right inquiries, not expressing ourselves well enough. And then throughout the connection, we tend to do the same thing. And then before you know it, we're feeling 5 of Wands, or I'm sorry, 5 of Pentacles. And once we start feeling left out in the cold, shunned, dismissed, the other entity's unresponsive, or they're ghosting us, we get Knight of Wands to the Devil, which is even more reactive than a Queen of Wands to the 5 of Swords. It's like we digress. We get very angry. So our advice is to not allow it to get to that point, to be honest with ourselves and say, this is a communication wound. I contribute to it. I want to take the inspired action to heal the pattern. The Devil, the 9 of Cups, and the 5 of Cups. I would rather exist in the 9 of Cups than the 5 of Cups. And again, doesn't mean from here on out we're going to be in 9 of Cup land forever and ever, right? But if I can acknowledge that the way I show up is contributing to me being in the 5 of Cups, that's a wound I'm going to want to fix. Let's get you 3 more cards. I don't know why I'm being told to get you 3 more cards. 3 more cards here for Scorpio. Thank you. Clearly you want to say something. 4 of Cups. We don't have to do this. We can exist the same way we always have. But I think it would be a missed opportunity. I think this is an opportunity to grow. And I don't think we should miss it. One more shuffle here. Thank you. 4 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, and the Chariot. Bottom of the deck, 4 of Pentacles. I get this feeling that some of you, when you first see this reading, you're going to be a little bit defensive. And I think that if that is a trigger for you while you watch this reading, then I think it's trying to tell you something. And it's not that I'm a bad reader or it isn't your message. I think it is your message. I think if you're triggered by this and you're feeling 5 of Wands, you're starting to feel a little combative and there's some, I think that should be your sign that goes, this is a big wound. 10 of Pentacles is big. This is a big wound. I can have victory over this. I don't have to stay stuck and stagnant in it. I think some of you are going to see this reading and feel like it's not your message or that I was attacking you or it's not you, it's the other person. I would encourage you to watch this reading again, maybe in a day or 2 when cooler heads prevail. Because again, we don't have to change this. And I'm the first to admit that I partially have this wound too, especially in my romantic partnerships. We were just talking about this morning. So, and he has his own communication wound. So we can grow. We don't have to drag this into 2026 or we could stay stuck. But I knew the reason I was told to pull those cards, some of you will feel attacked from this reading. And some of you are just going to, probably unsubscribe from the channel. And it is what it is. The message is the message. I'm a Scorpio moon. If I wanted this to be rainbows and unicorns, I could have lied through my teeth throughout the reading. But that's not the message that I got today. So I'm going to take the parts of it that apply to me. I'm going to try to make myself better. I hope you do the same. I hope you're not upset. And again, if this triggered you, you might want to come back. If you're interested in starting to heal this wound, I think your first step here to victory is just recognizing it That's huge. Once we recognize something, moving forward, we'll catch ourselves every time we fall into that old pattern. That's what I have for you, Scorpio. That is your tarot card of the week for the week of December 14th, 2025. If you like that message, resonates with you, you want to claim all or part of it, please be sure to click like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you don't hate me, hype the video if you're able to do that. And check out the description box if you're interested in becoming a time traveler. Until I read for you again, I'm wishing you light, love, and peace.